Beanie.
Repeat.
What's going on, everybody? It's your man, Hunter Grand, your personal agent for change, making life easy, Barzini.
And I'm fempreneur extraordinaire, tech diva all day, except today, Dre Renee.
And this is the crossroads where it might be a couple more rules, but where there's only one rule.
Be free to be you. That was
Hey,
my fault. I was trying something new today, and I had something going on in the headphones, and it caught me off guard. So,
listen, we've been doing this for going on 4 years now, and that's the first time that's happened. So your track record
yeah,
is you still good in the hood.
thank you. Thank you. I was like, wait, what is that? Threw me off. Threw me off a
It
little
ain't.
bit. So,
I can't say nothing with all the listen with the tech faux pas I've had. I can't even repeat what I've done.
oh, okay. Well,
Hashtag hot mic.
hashtag hot mic.
Oh, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How
Mm.
about you?
You know,
It's
I'm holding on like a
warm.
hubcap in the fast lane today.
Oh Lord.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We got it going on. I know the interwebs was going up this week, particularly on my page yesterday and today.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I can
and we
believe it.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk about all of that. What we're gonna talk about today, but let's get this part knocked out early because it's only right that we make sure the bills is paid before we allow people in the house. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay.
So so y'all, as always, the Crossroads podcast is brought to you by the House of 334.
It's the house.
For all your business branding and copyright needs, go to houseof334.com. It is black owned, it is woman owned, it is black woman owned, and it is amazing. And make sure you move quickly because the house will fill up fast. The Crossroads podcast is also brought to you by The Crossroads. Y'all, you can find everything that we do at our bit.ly. That's bit.ly/, the Crossroads, THEXROSSROADZ. And for those who continue to want to donate to the show, y'all, this is a labor of love, but love ain't free. And if you think it is, go tell your landlord that you love them. You can
Mm.
donate a little bit, donate a lot. It's all the same, but we want to make sure that we can bring you quality programming. So we're thankful for those that continue to donate to the show, and for those who want to, you can find the information there at our bit.ly. And the way that you can help us out the absolute most, you're watching this right now, go to our YouTube right now. Most of you are on YouTube. Scroll down, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to get the notifications for when we go live and post new episodes, and make sure you like the episode. So pause, scroll down, subscribe, like, hit the notifications. That's the best way that y'all can help us. Y'all, we are so close to our next goal. We need 28 subscriptions. I think we can get that tonight. So if you're watching
We
this, make sure, yeah,
we should.
we should get that to like y'all. When we launched this podcast, we got to 100 subscribers in the first week before we ever launched the episode. So
Yeah.
it can be done.
It can
It
be
can be
done.
done, you know. But what that means is that our loyal roadies and road dogs that have been with us from day one continue to be with us. But what we're asking for is share this, get your friends to subscribe to this because it's going to help us meet a very important initial goal. So yeah, we appreciate y'all.
And we have new things in the pipeline coming in 2024. I'm so excited.
Oh yes, new episodes, new partnerships, new content, new format that we
Yeah.
actually started talking about and unveiling today. So like y'all, we're constantly evolving and we're doing this for you to bring y'all the best content. And I want to say this, I think it's really good because there's a lot of people doing a lot of things, in the entrepreneurial space.
Mm-hmm.
And as entrepreneurs ourselves and building this show, you're watching us grow as we go, right? And so whatever you're trying to do, just do it. And I really want to thank Dre. Hey. So yeah, pay
Thank
the
you.
pay them bills.
No, thank me.
uh
What I do? What
yeah.
did I do?
Well, because we have yes, we have very different ways of podcasting and doing things, and um but my style and your style, the contrast in me sitting in the perfectionism and creation space versus you like hit the button and turn on the camera, you
Right.
and had I not had you to give that push in the initial, we'd probably still be planning. Right? So,
Child.
and some things it's like, yeah, we started, on Zoom, and the cameras were different, and and then we grew and was like, hey, let's try this and let's try that. And we're still doing that, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to continue to grow, and we want to watch y'all go to some of our earlier episodes and look at it versus now, look at the format versus now, and we're changing again. We've made changes that y'all don't even see and feel, because sometimes it's just really seamless and we do a lot of subtle things. But yeah, don't be afraid to change in the midst of the creation, in the midst
Yeah.
of the execution.
I saw Instagram reel, or I think it was either a reel or a story today, where someone was talking about like not being afraid to show people while you're trying, right?
Mm,
Like whatever it is, whether it's content creation, it's changing careers, it's, anything that may be new in your
mhm.
life, like don't be afraid to show people that you're trying. And so I think, that's 2024 for me. Like I'm moving into a lot of new spaces, some that I'm like, okay, I can see how I'm going to maneuver there. And some I'm like, I don't have any idea how I'm going to
Yeah.
do this.
Hmm.
But nonetheless, we're going. So that's a good
Yeah.
word.
And yeah, and so and I think that's important too, when you're saying like you don't know what you're doing. Y'all, so many people, including us when we first started, like we know a lot more about what we're doing now, and there's a whole lot we still don't know and that we're learning. We
Mm-hmm.
get mentored, y'all. We've taken classes. There's a class that we're going to take, right?
Yeah.
Um, so we're still learning, and we're learning from people who have been in this space. I think before our first episode, we took a class from
Mm-hmm.
somebody and then turned around, and I think they needed
I don't
information
think
from
they're
us.
doing, yeah, they're not even doing this anymore. And that's
Yeah.
another thing, like podcasters, there are a handful that stick in there, but I was listening to someone today who said like they heard from someone else that just getting 21 episodes puts you in the top 1% of podcasters. And I was like, dang, we did that.
We did
We
that.
did that so long.
Yeah, I think we had that almost before we launched.
I'm like, oh wow.
Oh
So
yeah.
everything that you think is like little, or it doesn't mean anything, there's somebody trying to get
Mhm.
to what you think is nothing. So
Right.
we are actually just over 3 years, which is crazy to me,
Hmm.
um, that we have existed, that long. And, we've been kind of out of pre record format for a little bit, but we've, consistently been doing these lives and connecting with our roadies and our road dogs, which I think is very important, just
Hmm.
throwing episodes up. Anybody can do that. But I really, really, well, I won't say anybody. A lot of people can do that. But I think it takes, folks that really care to want to connect with the people that are supporting them in the
Hmm.
way that you all support us, like that we become actual family. So I've appreciated, the past few years, and I'm looking forward to next year.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
We gonna
Absolutely.
make it happen. So
Yeah.
we're gonna create some opportunities for you all. We're gonna create more opportunities for us. And y'all send us y'all's feedback. Let us know how we can grow the show. Because we do this for you. Yes, we love what we do. We have a great time. There's um so much that goes into it. And I think one of the biggest things for Dre and I is we've been friends for so long, and we had a period over, a few years. We've been friends for 22 years now. But there
Hmm.
was a few years where like we just fell off in communication because life was just happening on both sides. And this has been an opportunity for us to connect consistently again, see each other's face, like, hey, like we talk about the podcast a lot, but we talk about way more than the podcast, you
Right.
know.
Right.
And but it's just great to how things like come together. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And again, I couldn't think of a better person to do this with. We have been actually talking about it for a long time before we actually did it. you
Mm-hmm.
know. And then
Yeah.
we were guests on another show, and then we were like, hey. And then we made it happen, and here y'all go. So, that was not what we came to talk about this week, but
That's okay.
you
That's
know,
okay. Hopefully, that's giving folks the opportunity to share the pod and the link. Put it up on your pages. Call somebody, text somebody, let them know that we're in the building. So,
yes, and we
yeah.
gonna be in the building. Um, so this week, and let me make sure my phone is turned down. Um, I like that too. I'm just looking at that stream. Um,
Good, 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 good.
yeah, this week something interesting happened, and we just had to turn it into a topic this week, right? So, I'm not gonna say what prompted my post yet, but I'm gonna say what I posted. So, you know what? Let me start with this before I even get to that. There's
Okay.
one of my favorite movie, right, is Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio. And for those who've seen it, for those who not, it's the short version is they've learned how to share people's dreams to extract information or plant information into people's minds. But there was a scene where they were looking for an architect, which was somebody to build the dream, and he was teaching her about what dream sharing was. And so he's having this conversation at this cafe, like on the corner. And when he gets to the part to where he was like, he explained that they have been talking about talking for like 5 minutes, and she was like, "Wait, we've been sitting here for like an hour." And or no, he explains like we're in a dream right now, and she was like, "No, we're not. Like we've been sitting here talking." He was like, "No." He was like, "If we've been sitting here for that long," he's like, "Okay, tell me how we got here." And
Mm,
she started thinking like she couldn't remember, and so he was explaining like when you start dreaming, your dream typically starts like right in the middle of it, right? And your mind doesn't know. Like in your mind, you're living life, but no, the dream starts in the middle of the dream. And
mm.
like, when's the last time you've ever been able to remember how your dream started, or let alone when you fell? Like, you don't know when you fell
That
asleep.
part.
You know what I'm saying? And I think the most odd memory I have in a dream is I knew I was dreaming in the dream.
Dreaming.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew I was about like I was playing
Those are
basketball.
called lucid dreams.
Yeah, so I
Mm-hmm.
was playing basketball and I missed a shot and the ball rolled right like real far, and I was lazy as hell in this dream, and I was like, man, I ain't finna go get that. I'm about to wake up anyway. Like,
Uh,
I literally told myself I was about to wake up, so I'm not going to get that ball, and then I woke up. So I say that to say that we create things in our head sometimes that we believe are real and aren't, right?
mm,
So I posted a post about a movie, right? So there's a movie phenomenon that's going around with comedian Sinbad. And the movie is Shazam, right? Where he plays a genie named Shazam, right? And I posted that the movie is not real. There is no Sinbad movie named Shazam where he plays a genie. And people swear this movie exists. So
went
much,
up.
so much, yeah, like the post went up, right? So much so that they have recollections of watching it as a child. So much so that they are saying there are people in the thread saying they actually have a VHS copy of the movie, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they've watched it several times. So I was just like, okay, tell me how it ends. Right? And one friend was like, oh, he gets freed. I was like, first of all, I was like, that was Aladdin, or probably any genie movie
Energy, like they have
that
to get
ever
free to
exists. Like,
be. They
that's
got to come out.
always, yeah, that's always the plot. Like, oh no, I'm gonna use one of my wishes to free you, or something like that,
Yeah.
right? Like, oh, I'm a slave
Uh-huh.
to this lamp. And so then people were like, oh, he confessed. And then the confession was Sinbad, like talking about, he's literally talking about, yeah, it was hard for me to do that role because I've never been a genie before. I never had genie powers. So Like y'all don't know sarcasm when you hear it. He said he had to grease himself up to get inside the lamp. This was the confession that y'all are using. And he tore a rotator cuff fitting inside the lamp. This is your evidence, right?
I
It's
love Sinbad.
right. And so I was like, y'all know he's a comedian. Then he says there's only three more being. He said they collected all the tapes. There's only three left out there. And when they find the people who has them, they're gonna kill the people that have. Like, this is the confession that y'all are leaning on. He's
That's
got it.
hilarious.
Yeah. He has interviews where he's telling you the movie is not real. And tonight we're going to present some things to you to dispel the myth that the movie actually exists. So, one, I'm gonna tell all y'all, you have not seen this movie. The memories you have of this movie are not real. They are not memories,
Hmm.
right? Your imagination has made it up. You believed something, and then your mind has created false memories, right?
Hmm.
The movie does not exist. So we're going to walk through some things, right? Proof that this movie does not exist. Okay. So, number one, let's start off with Sinbad himself, right? There's a clip that people have found that say, like, oh, this is a clip from the movie. Mind you, this is the only clip anyone could ever find. Where's the rest of the movie? You can't find it on YouTube, nothing, right? The reason why is the clip is fake, right? It's a real, I mean, it's a real clip, but it's not from the movie. The clip is called, the title is we finally found Sinbad's Shazam movie, right? It was posted on College Humor's website, which is a website that created skits and spoofs and stuff like that. And he did it. It was released April 1st, 2017 as an April Fool's joke.
My God.
The movie itself is rumored to have come out in 94. In this clip, Sinbad is clearly older, right? He's older, he's heavier. You have to remember in 94, that was the different world years where he had the flat top. That was the Sinbad show, right? This is a picture of Sinbad in 93. This is not how Sinbad looks in that clip. Not even he was in his he would have had to have been in his 30s if the movie came out in 94. He was not in his 30s,
Mm.
right? In that clip. Secondly, there's a little boy and a little girl that are in the clip with him. The little boy's about, let's say, about 7, 8 years old. Here's the picture of the boy from that clip today, a teenager, right? If that was the boy, if that was really the movie and it came out in 94, he would be about 40 years old right now,
Mm.
or close to it. That's not 40 years old, right?
Yeah, yeah. If we were kids, he can't
Yeah,
still be a kid.
he
He
can't
has to
still be a
be our
kid,
age.
right?
Yeah.
Now, the actual clip, all you have to do, right? If he made this movie, it would most likely be
Uh-oh.
on his IMDb.
Hmm. Yeah, I was trying to
That's
slide
you
into
was
the
having
next
some church.
thing.
You was having some church, huh?
Yeah, well, that was what was open on my Facebook page before I
Uh-huh.
started sharing these things. I'm
Oh,
so
okay.
glad I'm oblivious to this nonsense.
Right, 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 right. Oh, it gets deeper. It gets deeper. So we also, yeah, I'm doing my closing arguments. So if you go to Sinbad's IMDb, right, for those who are unfamiliar, Internet Movie Database, where they list all of the productions that, actors and actresses and producers and such are on, it actually shows the clip. Now, this is the IMDb, not for the movie, it's for the clip, right? The movie does not exist. It's not on his IMDb, but the clip is. So we found Sinbad's Shazam Genie movie. If you can, I don't know if you can zoom in or not, but if you see right next to it, you see the release date of this clip is 2017. It was created in 2017. Look at who directed by, right? Now, for those who don't know, Sinbad's government name is David Atkins. Okay. His son is Royce Atkins. His son directed it. How could his son, who is not 40, right? Right, and he's also listed as a writer. His son wrote and directed in the nine in 94. No,
Yeah.
right?
I
He
mean, he
wrote and
have to be
directed the
pretty.
clip. He'd have to be
He
pretty
have to
old,
be,
right?
yeah,
Now let's look at
or
the
very
cast.
special as a young
Right,
man.
but go back to the yeah. Now go back to
I'll
the
go back.
cast.
Okay.
You only have three actors in the cast: Sinbad as Shazam, right? Jolie Ledford and Bradley Bunley. Y'all can look these people up yourself. Google them. Go on their IMDb and see how old they are. They're not in their 40s, right? They're not in their late 30s. If this was made in 94. And why are there only three actors listed for an entire movie? Is because it's only that clip. So for those of you who are on my page talking about, oh, the mom and dad breaks up and they get back together at the no, they like you're creating your mind is literally creating a plot for a movie that doesn't exist. Right. And when I commented, I said, of all there's over 80 something comments on there. And I asked a simple question. All of you who are claiming to have seen it, at least one of you can tell me how this movie ends. And nobody can do it except for the one that did. And she said she lives in a parallel universe. So there's that.
Oh Lord, my God.
So and then there were people that say they have the VHS. So I said, okay, DM me your Cash App and I give you $20 if you can show me that you have this. As a matter of fact, Sinbad had taken to Twitter, right? And it's not AI or Facebook. We gonna let it happen. Yep.
Yeah,
Sinbad on Twitter had posted he'll give 10 grand to anybody who can produce the VHS of the movie. And no one's done it
because his
yet.
10 grand is safe.
Yeah, nobody in the industry has come and said, "Yeah, I worked on the movie." No crew, no grip, no like nothing. No other
Well,
actors.
people were pretty adamant today. I didn't stick around for all of the comments, but they were pretty adamant to the point
Listen.
where I was like, "Did I see this?" And I was like, "No, I didn't." I thought, which I posted in the thread, like, "Oh, are
Mhm,
people confusing Kazam and Shaq?" Because
mhm,
I mean, Sinbad is not as big as Shaq, but he's a tall,
right.
man. And I'm like, and it's the same kind of plot. Maybe they're thinking of this movie, but folks were like, no, I remember that. Like, we watched this over and over as kids. And I was like, I must have missed that one. And I'm like a super Sinbad fan from a
Mhm.
different world to the Sinbad show, like everything. And I'm like, how did I miss this? Well, it's because it didn't happen.
Exactly. Not to mention, Shazam is a DC Comics character.
Oh
So
yeah.
how did they clear that? They
They
wouldn't have
would have got
cleared
lit up. Yeah. They would have got lit up.
right. They just made two movies, two Shazam movies in recent years, right?
Hmm.
So like y'all.
Interesting. Interesting.
Now, and I'll say this. Sinbad's daughter, Paige Atkins, you can go, look her up on Instagram. I forgot to send the clip to you. I'm sorry, because we would have played it right here on the show. But she just posted on her page. So this whole thing was prompted because she actually posted about it. His own daughter has a whole video dispelling everything about this movie, and she is telling you the movie didn't happen, right? She's also a friend of mine. And I spoke to her today because we were trying to have her on the show. We're gonna have her on here on another show, but she couldn't make it tonight. But his own daughter, right, was doing R&B cruises. We were to participate.
Yes, in
Yes.
Aruba, girls. Yes,
Oh
they was
yeah.
in Aruba.
Yeah.
I remember
Every
watching
year.
that on
Uh-huh.
TV.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, like it would be easy just to go find the movie. Everything's on YouTube. Everything's Googleable. Y'all, like, if the movie really happened, Google me the cast. Google me the cast.
Hmm.
Plug in Sinbad's Shazam movie 1994 and find the cast. And show me a character outside of those three that we just showed you. Show me other characters, unless you did a whole movie in an attic with just those three characters, which is possible if that was the plot. But y'all are coming up with he got freed, the parents got back together, blah blah, and it didn't happen, right? And so I guess the question is, why does our brain do this, right? And how much more of our life or our memories or our beliefs or our experiences aren't really real? Like, if you
Yeah.
can, because you're sitting, because people are legit. This is part of my childhood. I remember watching it as a kid. What else do you remember as a kid?
And
And
I just
did it?
want to, make sure that everyone knows like this phenomenon actually exists. It has a name. It's
Mhm,
called the Mandela Effect. And it is when a group of people believe something to be true, even though it's not supported by evidence. So, this is something, quite frankly, that, social media does over and over again because it's a place for people to congregate. And if one person says it, and the next person says it, and the next person says it, and it just spirals out of control. And it's, believing that a certain event happened or a certain piece of information is true. If you follow us on Instagram or Facebook, we put up a post with kind of this or that, right? When it comes to different brands or characters, there's certain things that we believe that we remember. One thing is like the Monopoly guy, right? Like some people remember him with a monocle for whatever reason that didn't exist, right? Or the difference between the Flintstones and the Flintstones, right? Like some people swear it's one, and some people swear it's another. I remember seeing this, or the Fruit Loops packaging. There's so many things. I read today, even Forrest Gump. Now I know there are some people who have seen the movie, a gajillion times, but
mhm.
the
I'm one
article
of them.
says, okay, that the article says that we, or a lot of us, remember life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And they said that's not what happens in the movie. Now, I absolutely remember that, but maybe that's because people have been saying it forever. That could be, they say
They're
it's just
saying
life is
what?
like a box of chocolates. Like that's the phrase. Now, I
No, he
remember.
he absolutely says you never know what you're gonna
Okay,
get.
okay. I was like, maybe
Because he's
I've
putting
been
chocolate in
affected.
his mouth when he's saying it.
Okay, well then that person, we
Because
gotta
first
go
of
back.
all, wait, so first of all, that phrase doesn't even make sense by itself.
It doesn't, which is why I was asking myself, like, Lord,
I
why do
will
I
I will go
remember
on
this?
I will go on YouTube right now and find that clip. You ain't gonna listen, you can Mandela effect all you want. I know
I know that one was real.
I know that one was real.
Yeah, I do. I was like, I remember that, but I read it today and I was like, maybe he was trying to switch us around. Maybe the Mandela effect is only remembering half of it instead of remembering the whole thing. But I'm like, it's pretty memorable. I don't
Uh-huh.
know. But in any event, those are some examples really of how people can remember or not remember, misremember some things that, you know, can be verified. That's another thing, right? Like
Mhm.
you can literally go to Google, you can, pull down script PDFs. It looks like Barzini is on the hunt right now. I
Oh yeah.
I agree that you never know what you're gonna get is involved, but I guess he wants to make sure. But you can verify these things, but people like to just roll with what they feel, which is,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna say it's crazy. It's different for somebody like me. Like there are those of us who are very like logical. Let me
Mhm.
find the facts. Let me fact check. Like
And I
there
just
are
fact
things that
checked
I
and he
know.
just said it.
I know. I was like, there are things that I know that I know that I know that I know that I will still look up before I'm gonna be on the internet saying
Mhm.
this is definitive. Even
Mhm.
on this show, I'll say, I heard this, I read this, I don't know for sure. I'm not going
Mhm.
to put my good name on anything that I have
Mhm.
not looked up, researched, or I can point. back to, but folks will argue you down for dear life.
Right.
Ah, okay, Mr. Posey, I like it. A lot of these movies have different versions of it. Some scenes may be deleted or added. There's always a director's cut. That's true. I was
Mhm.
watching Stomp the Yard randomly. Don't judge me. It's been a hard couple of months. And I've heard that those of us who kind of watch and rewatch the same thing is some sort of trauma response to something. But anyways, I was watching Stomp the Yard, and it definitely was a version that I didn't recall. Like, it was a longer version of the fight scene. It was something else going on once he got to school. I was like, what? Where did
Mhm.
this come from? So yes, there are, and I noticed like the TV version seemed to be,
Oh yeah.
they mess with them a little bit. So perhaps maybe that was an
Mhm.
ad lib one time, and then we got it with us forever. I don't know. Might not have been on the script. But
Yeah.
go ahead, Barzine. So what do you think this means for our relationships, our
That's,
personal development, our
you know,
lives?
it it
What does this mean?
it's
Or
actually
does it mean
pretty.
anything at all?
No, I think it means a lot, and I think it's really scary, to be honest,
Mm,
right? Because if we know this is a real thing, right? Like we've just given evidence, and some people are still gonna think that they've seen this movie, right? But I'm just telling you, 100% it doesn't exist. Now, and I'm included in this number with other things like, yeah, I know this doesn't exist because I've seen evidence, right?
mm-hmm,
And I was having a conversation just yesterday, and we were talking about like our beliefs. Because so for me, belief is the most powerful force in the world, right?
right.
And the only thing that can change belief is experience. Now, I can't say that I believed the movie it did or didn't exist, but I know that it doesn't, and I've seen the evidence that it doesn't, right? And it
Mm-hmm,
makes sense. So I had an experience that shapes my belief. And a lot of people aren't having an experience that's shaping their belief. Now,
okay.
it makes me question how many things I believe that my mind has created, right? That I believe is an experience. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm,
how many of my memories aren't really memories, but creations of my own mind?
my.
How many things have we gotten into arguments for, like, you did this, and we have recollections of it, vivid recollections of it that our mind has created, and it hasn't happened. You know what I mean?
It's always our people.
Hold on. For some reason.
This is for Mandela.
Uh, Mandela. All right, so this is what we gonna do tonight, D. Okay, oh, okay, got
That's
you.
so funny.
He coming in with the junky jokes. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
um, I am good at basketball. I'll shake. No, I can't even say it because that was finna be a pause statement. But yeah, I got you. I got you. Yeah, that's what we doing tonight. Okay, but no. So the thing is, like, we remember things one way, and then sometimes we'll have conversations. And how many times have people like not wanted to be left out, and then they'll hear a story and they'll retell a story like they were there, and sometimes you don't even remember that you weren't even there when it happened,
Mm.
right?
I don't know if I've had
Yeah,
that
and so now
experience, but
it's almost like a game of telephone, right?
yes.
You, and so it's like, oh, it's, but this thing, it'll be the same thing, but it just grows, and this is how legends grow, right? And get
Mm-hmm.
bigger and bigger. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's just real interesting. But like when we think about people that we believe have wronged us, right? People who we've cut off or not forgiven, or right, like we've created these things in our head. Now, I'm not saying things didn't happen. You know what I mean? Some things are real and they're not. But how do we decipher now what's real and what isn't?
That's actually a good point. And I think that's why communication is important. Um, and of course this isn't a blanket general, there are some things that you're very well aware of what happened, and so is the other person, but it still doesn't hurt to sit down and hash or rehash the facts, because almost always when you sit down to tell your side or how you experienced it, the other person is going to have a different experience, or there's going to be some slight differences in their experience. And so that becomes important to help kind of frame or reframe what it is that's going on in your head. Like, there's an instance that I have been replaying in my head for the past almost month or so, something that made me very upset. And I've literally had to ask myself, is there something that I missed in this?
Mm-hmm.
Because what I remember and what I've been telling people, I'm like, did I miss something?
Mm-hmm.
To me, the answer is no. But there's always a chance that in our emotional state, or even, just as we recollect, we could be missing something. Or in the case of some of these people, God bless you, you made up a whole different, kind of reality, because maybe there's a piece of it that's
Mm-hmm.
familiar, and that happens. So it's like, I can identify with this piece of it. And so everything else kind of becomes um the story, if you
Right.
will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that goes into interpretation. Something happened just this morning, right? Where we think we hear something, and I had to pause before I responded, right? So I was working the front gate at the school, me and my coworker. And we're waiting for all the kids to arrive, like the car ride, like the bus is coming, and we wait for all the car riders before we go inside. So there's one kid that kind of acts up, and he do his own thing or whatever. And she made a comment. I'm gonna call the kid Larry, and she said, "I'm gonna go in after Larry today." And I was like, "Why? Like, the kid ain't even showed up, and you ready to go in on him?" In my head, like, why are we? You ready to pick? Like, why you finna pick on this kid? And I didn't respond to it. I was just because I was annoyed. Like, here we go. We about to just be picking at this kid. So I was just kind of before I responded to it. And then my brain was like, "You're stupid. That's not what she's saying." So
Like,
she
go
said
in,
those
literally go in.
literally go inside
Yeah.
after
After
him. After him, she said, I'm going inside
inside.
after
Yeah.
him. That's what she meant. But she said,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going in. And then my brain was like, I was like, oh, she meant go in. Okay. Okay. Right. Now, had I ran with that, I might have told somebody else, and yeah, and Miss Such and Such was talking about going in on the kid, and we ain't treating our kids right, and
Mm-hmm.
this whole narrative, and then I would have shared it, and somebody else would have shared it, and then the way my interactions with her would have been different, and then I'm like, it would have changed everything.
Yeah. That's
Did,
happened on this show before, just by the way. I was
oh,
telling
please.
us, I just saw the clip recently. I was giving you your props, and I set up the story saying, that Barzini we've talked about this on the show, and I'm just now realizing that. And all he heard was, I'm just now realizing, and discounted the fact that I said he had said it already, because and leaned into the camera and was ready to
I
let
think
me
I know.
have
I
it.
think I know that clip because I was like, and you paused it because I think you
And I
saw
was
my
like, why are
face.
you looking like that?
Like I said, you said.
Child, it's about to be a thing. For those of you who are OGs, you probably remember too.
Listen,
I was
I
like,
remember. Yeah,
hey,
I remember that. I don't remember what episode it was, but I do remember that moment.
my Lord. So we share all these funny moments. I mean, it's funny now, but in the moment, I was like, goodness gracious.
Uh-huh.
That these are things that could be happening in our day-to-day relationships or interactions. D. Will says Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal lyrics was definitely, you've been struck by a smooth criminal. If you look up the lyrics now, it's you've been hit by. I definitely, yeah, it
Hmm.
was a struck.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, we was there
Yeah.
with Moonwalker and all of that.
Right. Now the thing with lyrics though, the funny thing with lyrics, especially like when you're looking up on the internet, so many different people like post
Yes,
lyrics.
they do.
You
Their
know,
own thoughts.
yeah, and I've
Same
seen a
with
whole
closed
bunch of
caption. I'm like,
like, wait,
what
what
did
that
you
mean? What
hear?
they said? Yeah, sir, man, that is
Yeah,
those were not the words that was coming out of their mouth. But
not.
yeah, so it's just real interesting. And if any of y'all ever had a moment, like share that in the comments
Hmm.
where you've realized later that something wasn't real or something that you might have held on to that you later found out. And it can be
And some
humbling.
people just lie. Let's also do that. Some people will, fabricate a story,
Hmm.
whether it's to make themselves look good or to avoid, something, and they have told it so
Hmm.
many times that it becomes true for
Right.
them, right?
And
And that's
yeah, I'm like, and I wonder, does that, so for those who are watching, how does this information or this phenomena and now inform, or maybe it's informed in the past, how you approach your social media presence, right? Because I know I'm good for, yeah, I heard somewhere, I read somewhere that blah, 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 right? And it may not have been from a credible source. And so you read something and you remember it, and then over time, like you walk away from it, and over time, you can't remember if you read it, you heard it, you saw it yourself, you experienced it. You just know there's some information, and then you retell it, right, as truth. Like, nah, I read it somewhere, and it's a crazy thing because it can shape someone's life.
hmm
You know what I'm saying? Of what's true and what's not true. So, like, wait, lie yourself into delusion, repeat a story. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, that
mm,
happens. That happens.
yeah. And
That's crazy. I
so,
know that happens. That happens a lot with people on social media when it comes to celebrity deaths, right?
mhm,
People are like, I could have sworn such and so already died, or and you're
yeah,
like,
like,
and there was somebody recently that I felt that about, but I can't recall in the moment. But yeah, I know that there have been some instances that like when Scarface and the Ghetto Boys talk about your mind playing tricks on you, like
mhm.
it really can.
Speaking of
Yeah.
Scarface, I think I'm gonna end this the evening before I go to bed watching this Tiny Desk.
Oh yeah, I think I
I,
saw.
yeah, I
Yeah.
saw a couple of clips and it was dope, but I heard the whole thing is just, what I'm saying, like that. So,
Okay. Okay.
shout out to
Come on,
Scarface and
Tiny
and,
Desk.
and his Tiny Desk. But I think we just have to be very, very careful of the information we spread, right? Um, and y'all, some things are just as simple as a Google search, really, if you really pay attention to it. Like,
That part. Don't
not
be too lazy to fact
yeah,
check when you
not
can't, and if
everything
you
is
can't,
gonna
just
be,
don't pass it on until you can.
yeah.
Go ahead.
So yeah, not that everything is going to be, fact when you Google it, but some things are as easy as it. Like, research has be very easy with just Google, you know.
Yeah.
And we also, yeah, the need to be right. We also have to be careful because we gravitate to information that supports our individual narratives, you know. And we only accept or spread that which we believe is truth, even if it's false, you know. And somebody can present you the truth. Like we've presented a whole bunch of stuff about this movie, and still people will, like, no, I know I saw it. I know I saw it. I'll say this: you saw something, but what you did not see is a movie starring Sinbad playing a genie named Shazam, released in 1994.
That's
That
hilarious.
it just didn't happen, right? And
Mhm.
can you accept that this thing didn't happen. Especially something that's not going to change what you got to do to get up and do tomorrow, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
you know, but we also accept things about ourselves, both negative and positive, right? That's also not true, right? We um believe things about ourselves, personalities, memories, and often to elevate ourselves, you know what I mean, to believe something when in reality it's like, nah, that's not who you are at all. And we can delude ourselves into thinking, I think that's how just narcissism
Mm.
arise. You know what I'm
Well, I
saying?
know my mom always says like you can lie to anybody, but you can't or you shouldn't actually, lie to yourself. Like lie, you can lie to anybody, but don't lie to yourself. I think that is very dangerous. We can either believe our own hype, and then in the reverse, sometimes we believe things about ourselves that are untrue that can tear us down. The
Hmm.
whole imposter syndrome and how we talked about that. Flashback to season one uh,
Hmm.
with Stevon Lewis. So please go check out parts one and two on that.
Yeah.
But that's, our minds are very, very powerful, right?
Hmm.
Brains powerful, the body's computer, if you will. And so, belief, as you mentioned, can govern us or cause us to change the way that we move and that we operate in this world and in our interpersonal
Hmm.
relationships. Yes, biblical cliche is one of those, right? Cleanliness is next to godliness. There are a lot of phrases that have God in it or godliness in it or holiness in it, and
Hmm.
the Bible said no.
And
I
it
saw a
never
shirt.
did.
I saw a shirt. So for those of you who know hashtag boo, as a matter of fact, pause and timeout. I just want to take a moment to publicly celebrate our executive producer, my husband, hashtag boo. His birthday was yesterday. It was a milestone birthday. I don't know if he cares about me saying what his milestone was, but happy birthday, hashtag boo. Y'all light it up in the chat. Um, and I was going to say something else about him, but it just reminded me that his birthday was yesterday. So, as we always say, so glad that you were born. All right, I was
Happy birthday,
yeah,
little bro.
I was
Young no.
yeah, yeah, yes. He's still a youngster. Even I told him, I was like, oh, you finally an old man. Um,
He been an old
Now
man.
I know. Well, here, yes, right, but he's catching up with his spirit.
Hmm.
So we were in Spencer. So if you know hashtag Boo in real life, he wears interesting T-shirts. Have these interesting sayings on them, and so some of them he designs, some of them he finds at various retailers. So we were in Spencer's a couple weeks ago, and there was one T-shirt with Jesus on it that was like, "Now you know I didn't say that," and I fell out laughing because I'm like, if anybody gets lied on, okay, if
Listen, I
anybody gets lied on,
listen. They be lying on Jesus' name, like it.
now you know I didn't say that.
Yeah,
I fell out laughing.
and when we get into like the topic of, when we start talking relationships and stuff like that, so many people like to lean on the Bible with things that the Bible never said, right? Like, one, the Bible never says that men are supposed to pursue women. Never. Doesn't even suggest it, right? The Bible does not say that women are only supposed to submit to men. We submit one to another, right? Like,
Hmm.
all of these things that we say, and we cater it to fit our narrative. You know what I mean? The Bible doesn't say that men are supposed to pay the bills.
Hmm.
It doesn't say that, right? It does say that a man should provides for his family, but it also says so does a woman. And if you don't believe it, read the entire chapter of Proverbs 31, because that chapter is about women working, right? And taking care of her family. you know. Um, and so we conveniently hold on to things that fit our narrative and ignore or erase things that don't. You know what I'm saying? Or like we like to say, we don't read that part.
Don't read that
we
part.
don't we don't read the parts that don't fit our narrative. Now, there are some things that are just good to do, you know. Um, so just say that, or things that we just prefer. Just say that, but don't lie on
Hmm.
God.
Yeah,
don't,
please.
don't lie on God. I just picture guys screaming that from. I ain't say that.
That's what I said when I saw that T-shirt. I was hollering. Like, you know,
Listen,
I
I
didn't
do
say
that
that.
at work all the time. I'll be coming down the hallway and I'll be hearing kids talking about Mr. I said I ain't say that. Quit lying. Folks will
Oh gosh.
but just like children, people will lie to get what they want. You know what I'm saying? I was at a
Hmm.
live concert and celebrity told us to Google him, and they had him in the hospital and, and his dead to a day.
Dang.
Hey, dying is not fun. I died once. You
Man.
remember?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, also I get, and someone said it in the comments earlier. I guess the answer is not always to Google. We're saying like that's the least you could do,
Yeah,
right? Is
yeah.
is
That's the
Google,
bare
but
minimum.
also that's not the say all end all because you understand with things like Wikipedia, like people
Hmm.
can go in and edit and do those things. So we do acknowledge that fact checking, can't end
Right. You don't end
with
there, but it's
Google.
it's a great place to start though. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
here we go.
Only God can judge me. Hey, Jay,
Oh,
listen,
that's good.
listen. If
That's
if
good.
no real statement has been made tonight, judge like hold my beer. Only God can
Only
judge.
God can judge me.
I'm like, okay, okay.
Hmm. Let's
You
see how
know,
this go.
right, exactly. So y'all, yeah, it's just super crazy. And I really want people to like take the time and like dive into what you've experienced versus what you've been told versus what you know for a fact. You know what I mean? Like we adopt other people's trauma and pass it off as our own. You
Mm.
you see what I'm saying? Like people will be out here crusading about stuff that never happened to them, you know, or adopt beliefs that never happened or is not happening to them, but they'll hear someone else's experience and then create a narrative, right? Like it's a hard one to shake, but let's go say let's use this one. How men believe that women aren't accountable as a group, right?
Hmm.
Now, it's not quantifiable to say like the majority of women are not accountable. And I know I've had some experiences of a lack of accountability, right? But is that to say that all of us have? You know
Hmm.
what I mean? That the things that we say, the examples that we give, we've all experienced that? Or are we just, it's almost like this. When black people see somebody running,
We don't play.
we
We
don't
like
ask questions. You see somebody running,
more.
we run,
Yeah, yep.
right? And
You
then
can
all of a
ask
sudden,
later. What
like
we running for?
yeah, I swear to God, one of the funniest moments. We was at Long Beach. It was at Long Beach Step Show. When I can't remember the year, but this is when I was still with my ex that I was with for a long, long time, right? So she
Hmm.
was there. So whatever happened, whatever was going on, people start running in the parking lot, running, and I'm like, oh, and I'm running. And as I'm running, I'm running past her car. I see her car and I'm running. And I look at her car. Instead of getting in the car, I'm running past her car. And she's looking at me like, why are you running? And in mid stride, I'm like, we, we laugh.
Condition.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm running, but I'm running past her. I just know run. And I'm running like hands up.
Condition.
Listen, she laughed at me
Condition.
to this day for that, but I wasn't about to wait to find out so I could tell the story.
That's funny.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll get the tea later. And I don't know what we're like. Hey, oh yeah, they was about to start shooting. Somebody can tell me a complete lie. I'm like,
Mm,
okay, whoever got the
that's
story,
funny.
it is what it is. But I know I've told story. I can't remember which ones, but I've told stories that I don't remember if I was present for.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
I can't remember telling the story that I wasn't there for because that's
but
the
you
fun
don't.
part.
But the
Like
thing
this,
is,
and this is what I said, and then this is what they said.
yeah,
What
but
I
no,
did.
but if the Mandela effect is real, then we wouldn't recognize when we're doing it if we're being affected by it. Like if we're
I
really,
guess so.
yeah, like
That's what I
that's
said. I was just like, yeah,
yeah, you
I
have a
get you.
memory of it, but do you?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like somebody's in your brain, like, I'm bored. Let me just create something. Like,
Ah,
like
let
your
me
brain is a
programming something.
storyteller. Your brain is a storyteller.
It is because
You,
by some of these dreams, you're like, where did that come from? So you can
yeah,
only imagine.
yeah. And sometimes you might have a dream that you think is real, and then you grow up and it's like, did that really happen? Is that a dream?
Did
And
that
then
really happen?
you know,
Is that what deja vu is? I've always like I have had the feeling, but like clearly I have not been here. But like,
mhm.
what about this makes it so familiar? Have I
I've
had a
had,
dream? Did I think about something that was parallel?
I've
Not
definitely
really
had
sure.
deja vu where I know it was from a dream. Like I dreamt this. And
Mm-hmm.
like sometimes I can recognize. Sometimes I'm like I'm having deja vu, and I don't know if it was a dream or if it was if it
Yeah.
did. Like I was like I've seen this exact thing happening before.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yes.
maybe deja vu is just that, or maybe I didn't, or maybe I thought I had the dream. I don't know what triggers a deja vu, but
Yeah.
like it's the craziest thing. So y'all, we are about to move into our final thoughts for this week. It's been a very, very interesting and enlightening conversation that we are going to continue because we are going to have a very credible source about the movie on the show. On the show. So we're looking forward.
I don't
Um,
know if we need anything else to disprove what these, but maybe
uh
maybe she's
but no,
the
yeah, just
period.
talking about the conversation about how these type of things affects us and everything else. But what are your final thoughts for the week?
My final thoughts are because I don't know if we're gonna do a day after Christmas live. Are we doing a day after Christmas live?
Yeah.
Oh. Hey y'all, that did not. He didn't sound like. Child, if I was y'all, well, don't leave me. If it was just him, I'd leave.
Mhm.
But because because I'm here, don't leave me, okay? But y'all need to give him the steak face for that. Not hitting
Yeah.
us with the. Ugh. Well, in either event, have a Merry Christmas because if we do come back next
Right.
week, it
Yeah.
will be after Christmas. But happy holidays to everyone. We hope that you have a wonderful, restful, non stressful next few days to about a week with your families. This is always a time of reflection for many of you, and even for myself. There's a grief component that's connected. And so I just want to encourage you and let you know that you are in our thoughts and we're praying for your peace and your comfort. There are some people who are even burying loved ones like this weekend, like literally a couple of days before Christmas. And so we really are holding you in our thoughts and in our prayers. And again, just wish you a happy holiday season. For those of you who it can't be happy, we at least, pray for your peace. We pray for your peace this time of year. So, with that said, I know Barzini is probably going to wrap us up around the topic, but I just want to extend well wishes, condolences, and for those of you who will be, in a celebratory mode, enjoy your holidays and your Christmas.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my final thoughts, y'all, guard your mind and be very, very careful of what you allow in. Make sure that you're doing mental maintenance, making sure that the things that are coming out of your mouth and that you are spreading are kind, are edifying, are true. You know, um, we all err, right? And so it's always progress, not perfection. But as we've noticed, the mind is a very powerful thing, and it um, can allow us to believe things that can be detrimental, right? And so, not only fact check things about, yeah, we want to share information about celebrities and current events and stuff like that, but fact check yourself. Fact check the things that you believe about yourself, right? We don't want to overinflate. Like, don't believe something, like don't believe that you're better at something than you are, because it's going to prevent you from actually learning and improving in that area, right? But also don't believe something negative of yourself that isn't true, right? Fact check yourself. Make sure that you are always building yourself, that you have positive talk about yourself, that you pay attention to those things that may not be so great, that you so that you can improve them. Don't be so close-minded that you think that you can't improve, right? Don't be so quick to lean to be offended or become the victim of things that are meant for you to grow and learn from. Fact check yourself. Fact check yourself that you are skilled in the areas that you need to be skilled in. Fact check yourself that you are being effective and efficient. Fact check yourself that you are being kind and courteous to others. Fact check yourself that you're developing and making this world a better place than you found it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, those are my final thoughts. To always be mindful and fact check yourself. But as always, we appreciate all of y'all, the roadies and road dogs, our day ones, and our new audience. We see some new people in the comments. We appreciate y'all. Make sure again that you go to YouTube, scroll down, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit that bell so you get the notifications, right? We really, really appreciate all the support that you continually give us, week in and week out, and we are on to bigger and better and always looking to grow. So
Oh, thank you, Shan.
yeah,
I appreciate that.
yeah,
I do.
and we knew that. Fact check yourself.
I know. I checked that.
Fact check. So
Yeah, me and my little heart. Thank you.
yeah, so we appreciate y'all. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and we will see you on the next go round. Day after Christmas is what we're shooting for.
Yes.
But if you're subscribed, you're gonna know that, right? So um we want to thank y'all for always rocking with us. And in closing, always remember, be
Be
free.
free to be you. Guys, have a fantastic holiday. We'll see you next week.
All right, we love y'all.
Bye.